Welcome to the Resonate podcast with Aideen. I'm Aideen Riada. My guest today is Deanna Marie, and I am so excited to meet you, Deanna. How are you today?
I'm so well. How are you?
I'm great. So I found Deanna Marie in such an unusual way. She is another intuitive vocal coach. And because I had been, working as an intuitive voice coach, I was so surprised to find you online. And I had to, meet you and I had to get you on the show, but to talk about all things voice coaching and about using the intuitive powers that we have. I think each of us has that opportunity to tune inward and feel what is real in a situation, not just from the mind. And I'm excited to find out more about how you do that.
Oh, I'm excited to tell you and everyone else as well. This is going to be great. I'm excited.
It is. Let me tell everybody a little bit about you. I'm going to read out a little bit about you and then we'll get started. Deanna
Okay.
Marie is an Emmy award winning vocalist, storyteller, and intuitive vocal coach from Grand Rapids, Michigan. She is the multi passionate, light-hearted writer and creator of the Deanna Marie Experience, a one woman show about surviving her very unique life journey. It debuted in 2023 in Oklahoma City. She is a classically trained singer with over a decade of experience and has worked with internationally known vocalists, stage directors, and choral conductors. I can see there this has been a journey, right? It's like this, there's the hint there of what you've had to survive in your life. And
Yeah.
then we see also Emmy award winning. We see you classically trained, international clients. Tell us about that journey a little bit. Like, what was it that brought you to where you are today?
I would have to say music if I was to say put it in one word. Yeah. So when I discovered my voice, I was actually I wasn't talking because my mother had just left my sister and I to serve a prison sentence for a year, and she didn't tell us that she wasn't coming back. So the day that I found out my mother wasn't coming back, I stopped speaking. Now I didn't know that I could sing yet. So maybe a month later, I guess I was singing in the bathtub, and my cousin burst in the bathroom, and she thought that I had stolen a radio, and she didn't know it was me singing. So she was shocked, and she wrapped me in a towel and she took me out of the tub and plopped me in front of the living room and called all 13 other people that lived in the house and said, "Do it again." And I did it again, and everybody's mouth was on the floor. They didn't really say much, but I knew maybe something was kind of special then. Um, but my mom came back from prison and a little bit late, and then after that, I ended up in foster care. So in between my mother coming back, I really didn't sing that much. I was probably 9 or so, and then I was in foster care, and my foster mom, she could sing, and she loved my voice. She had me singing all the time, whether it was cooking or cleaning or at the random people at the grocery store or the dentist's office. I was singing all the time, and so that's when I discovered maybe I had something special, and so that's kind of where my voice was discovered. But then life happened, like as life does,
Mhm.
and I ended up using drugs with my mother when I was 18. So we're just going to flash forward, okay? And that was a crazy journey that I had and that we shared. I mean, I had a deep yearning for a mother that loved me, accept me, see me, hear me, understand me. And I figured maybe if I join her where she is, I could have that. Well, that was definitely something that needed to happen. And I'm saying that because I carried a lot of hatred and um, a lot of resentment for my mother and my father because how my childhood was, and it was something about when I used the drug with my mother 18 years later after living this childhood. I forgave her. I forgave her because I understood the effect of the drug in one time. And so I felt convicted because I had carried so much resentment and from my mother and other people who use drugs too. But it hits you different when you do it. I had a completely different perspective. But, that was a 5-year journey. And then I ended up at Grand Rapids Community College where I met my first voice teacher. Now, he told me that I was an opera singer. And I said, no, I'm not. I don't think no, Black people don't do that. That's what I said. Totally ignorant. Now, mind you, he's African American, okay?
Yeah.
and and I didn't believe him, and it's just, and I was 27 at the time. I had already was starting late, so to speak, and so I said, okay, God, the universe, whoever you are, I need you to show up again, because the first time I asked this question, if you're there, I need you to show me by doing this. I asked to be delivered from drugs. Well, long story short, I woke up clean one day. I woke up and I was clean. That's how it happened. So I said, "Oh, I'm going to try that voice again." I remember. So I said, "Okay, if you want me to be an opera singer, I'm going to make a deal with you. Okay, if you want me to be an opera singer, I need you to. I want to go to school in Italy, and I want to learn Italian. And if you do that for me, then I will take this, because I heard it would be at least a decade. If I was to go this opera route and train classically, I would at least need 10 years." I said, "Okay, well, if you do that for me, universe, God, whoever," because I was, you know, then I'll commit the 10 years. Well, be careful what you ask for, okay? Because the next summer, that summer, I was in Italy studying at the Università Percionieri. I stayed on Via Frave Vignati. It was crazy. And I said, what? So I knew then, I said, oh, not only do I have a special connection and I can make very specific requests if I'm very specific and I really, really, really want it, I have this journey that I have to embark on now. So that's what I did. I
That's so
did that.
beautiful. It was a commitment, right? It was you were committing to something, and allowing yourself be guided by the circumstances around you. I mean, for me, I was always a very stubborn person. I was like, well, I want this, I want that, and I spent my first 40 years chasing things that weren't coming naturally.
Sure.
That my family were trying to dissuade me from, that people were going, I'm not sure if that's the right thing for you, but I could not hear anybody
Mm-hmm.
else's opinion. If it wasn't coming from my own mind, I would discard it.
Mm-hmm.
And to just because you don't know my story that well, some of the listeners do, but I, in my 40s,
Mm-hmm.
asked for guidance, and I said, I want to do more with music.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what that is, and I really need help with this. And
Sure.
3 weeks later, I heard a voice in my head saying, do a singing workshop for adults. Now, the reason I knew it wasn't me was because I didn't want to do it, because
That's
my
how.
mom's a music teacher, she's a guitar teacher. I was like, I'm not a singing teacher. When I asked, could I do more with music, I wanted to sing at weddings or something, right? So I
Right. So
had my own
funny.
ideas. So I have some experience with that. So I'm really, there is something out there that wants to help us along the way, but I think
Mm-hmm.
people find that difficult to discern, where, like, is this a good idea? Is it not a good idea? And we use our brains to filter that. And now you've
Mm.
mentioned, that you are an intuitive vocal coach.
Yes.
So from what you're saying about, asking for guidance, and, the fact that you do intuitive vocal coaching,
Mhm.
what is it you say to people to help them to tune in to something greater than themselves for guidance if they need it?
Well, in with my clients, I introduce meditation. We all read a book called The Four Agreements, and we kind of take a deep dive into. And one of the agreements, the first agreement, is be impeccable with your word.
Hmm.
And it really breaks down how powerful the word is. And it breaks down different scenarios and how we break ourselves down with our own words on a daily basis throughout our lifetime, and how it piles on us. And so we have to kind of, so the whole thing, for me, is tapping into the power of their word, the power of their thought. That's how I get, but usually how I get people to tap in right away when they first come to me, I usually tell them something that only they know. So then they, and I'm also very, very transparent and vulnerable as well. So some people maybe don't need that. They need to hear something about me that is like, that's shocking, or whatever. I don't know. Uh, so I
You're trying
just,
to open someone up, because it's about trust, right?
yeah,
So if you can bring out something, if you can help them to trust you or help them
yeah,
reveal something that they are unwilling to usually share,
yeah,
and you create a safe space. So one of the things I talk about sometimes is that I have this idea of this nurturing environment. Like it's almost like, everyone becomes my friend. Like I had a client walk out of the house the other day, and I said, "Love you," like that. And I walked back in, and the two guys who were still in the room, I said, "I just told her that I loved her," and I said, "I probably shouldn't have done that. It's not professional, but I love you guys too." So I guess that's just the way I tend to create these relationships with people, that isn't just a bland exchange. There's something way deeper to it, and it feels to me like that's how you're working as well.
1,000%, 1,000%. I tell them I love them all the time. Some I give them affirmations. I tell them you are loved, seen, heard, and understood. I'm thinking about you. Here's some energy for you. Like, just I love them. Like they're my family, because they're led to me. So I feel like they're a part of my soul family. They're a part of my tribe. I have a job. I am a light for the lights, and or a healer for the healers. And so when people come to me, I consider myself as they are when they come. They are a spiritual hospital for other people, which is why people come and they open up themselves, but you have to be careful with that. You have to be careful, and only open up yourself up to those who are assigned to you. And so that's another thing that I really work on is people's energy, and seeing, like I tell them, we have a cell phone. You start off with 100% battery. Where is your battery going by the end of the day? Most people really wake up at 50% and don't even really understand that there's 100%, but that's another story altogether. But I bring them to an awareness of their energy and their power. And then we go a little bit deeper, and we talk about the things that maybe they never talked about their childhood, that's really I see it as a chain that's bound to them spiritually. And once we begin to talk about these things, and it's locks that kind of come off their voices, then I was like, now we can train it. Let's go. You know.
That is awesome.
Uh-huh.
What
Hmm.
I mentioned to you before we came on, started recording, was this idea of identity, because of all of the stages of your life story, and all of the ways that others would have seen you in a certain way, because you've been through that, or you did it to your mom even. Do you know what I mean? We have a judgment when somebody's going through something. We see it as a kind of failure. Like for me, my mother moved to Ireland. She's American, from Michigan, but my mom and dad broke up. So I was like, well, mom, you made a mistake. Obviously, you made a mistake because you didn't stay together. I had a difficult time in my teens because of all of this. And then eventually, years later, you come back and like that, you can forgive, and you realize it's not a mistake. And at my wedding, when I got married about 6 years ago,
Hmm.
I just said that it's not a mistake. And I stood up in front of everybody there, and I said, there's no mistake, and we all deserve second chances.
Yes, we do.
So yes, we can be hard on our moms, right? I think
Yeah.
everybody does that.
Yes, yeah. But I also think, though, to kind of even take it to the opposite end, sometimes once they get that second chance, a third, fourth, and fifth and sixth is not necessary. And a lot of times people hold on to people, places, and things because of their titles, because they feel entitled, because it's my child, it's my mother, it's my spouse. No, no, you don't have to take any abuse from anybody, because of what their title is. And so for me, over the years, I had to learn to cut some of those ties because it wasn't serving my highest good. And I'm better, and I'm better. And I'm not,
Yes, well, I can no, that
hmm
is a tough one. That is a tough one.
hmm
Because when I kind of pulled away from my parents because they were going through their thing, and I felt like a
yeah,
betrayal, okay?
sure.
I started to look to other people who did not deserve me to give them any time. I was looking
Mhm.
for another safe place, but I wasn't always choosing the right people. So I went on a huge journey with that myself. But Tell me something about identity. That's what I was trying to. I went on a tangent as well. Well, like who? What do you identify with? Because it, like you. Okay, we talked about being multi passionate, lighthearted. Like when people come to you, they are coming with all that stuff. They identify with a certain version of themselves. What
Mhm.
can you tell me? I just have this feeling that you've something very profound to say about this.
Mm. About when people come to me, how do I get them to identify with themselves?
Yes.
Well, first of all, people are covered in masks, so we have to identify what those are first. And so we go through and say, okay, how do you act at work, or how do you act at school, or what's your professional voice, or so we have to identify where it is that they're hiding, so we can begin to crack the mask one by one, destroy them. What and destroying that means, so every time we break one, we realize, and they find a piece of themselves. It's like a treasure chest. Once they crack the mask, they find something like, you know what, I really don't like that, or I really should have said this. Okay, you know. And so it's it depends on it depends on the person, and it depends on how many masks they carry, and how strong that mask is. How long have you had that? What made you feel like you had to? Because a lot of people, they don't understand, the more masks they create, the more they lose their own identity. And so I really pride myself on helping people find them, the real them, because it's so lost in society and the way our world works and the way the system is. So many people are just floating around, and I just grab them up and say, wait a minute, let's look at this in reality, not what you not just what you think it is, or what you perceive it to be, what it is. It really is. A lot of times we have a perception of things to be one way, like my childhood. One person could say, your parents are terrible. They left you hanging. They let you get abused. They put you in different foster homes, and I can see that perspective, but I see it as a win, because every spiritual scar that I have on my back is not for me. It's for other people, because I was designed. I heard that same voice that told me that my voice was to help. I was created to help, to use my voice to help raise the consciousness of humanity in whatever facet that is. And so that means, too much is given, much is required. And so now, I identify, um, I think the hardest trials of my life, I identify, as the warrior, as the survivor, as the thriver, as the one who is supposed to stand on the front line and help weave the fabric of humanity back to its rightful place.
Absolutely amazing.
Mm,
Purpose. You've got a very
mm,
definite purpose in that.
mm.
One of my favorite lines I read in an email from a spiritual therapist was that no one gets left behind. And
No.
that means so much to me, because when I see some of the stuff going on, and you can see the person who's vulnerable, you can see the person who is being, um, you know, the victim in a situation, like truly that they are a
Mm.
victim of that situation to some degree, and to the oppressor is the one that I'm going, hey, they got, that person needs so much love right now. And they to change your mind about something that you've believed for a long time, to change your mind about prejudice, or to change your mind about what's right or what's wrong, it takes a huge amount of self-compassion and courage. And
Yeah.
when we're being too critical and too hard on ourselves, we can't give ourselves the grace to change.
Ooh, that's good. That's true. That's true. We can't. You said, no, nobody's left behind. Let me expound on that a little bit, if I can. Unless they choose to be left behind. See, there are people, places, and things in this world that choose to stay tethered to the system, tethered to ideals that they've made up or that they've gotten from outside sources besides themselves. And sometimes you have to let them stay, because the energy that it takes to pull them, you could have found 100 people who are ready, who are searching, who want to come. And
Hmm.
so you also, I teach and I feel and I live this way. You also have to be careful how long you're pulling, if that's what you're doing, or how long you're trying to make something happen, because that you could be wasting valuable energy on something that is not assigned to you.
That's really beautiful.
Mhm. Thank you.
That this term being assigned to you, are you
Mm.
using that? Is that based on Florence Scovel Shinn by any chance? She talks in that way. Do you know her?
No, but
Wow.
I have goosebumps all over, so I should, or maybe I do, and I got
Yes,
this.
yes.
You
Wow.
feel it. Yes.
So, for those listening and for yourself, Dion, Florence Scovel Shinn um, is an author who wrote a book called The Game of Life and How to Play It. And she wrote another book called Your Word is Your Wand.
Mm,
And she has a
mm,
number of absolutely amazing books. And she has a way with words, like the way that you use that word assigned. It just reminded me so much of her. So definitely
mm,
worth looking her up for spiritual kind of, you know, wisdom. There's really a lot of wisdom about how to manifest, how to change, your way of thinking about things.
mm. Thank you. That's good. I had goosebumps, so I'm doing it. Don't worry about it. Thank you.
What else would you like to talk about during our interview today? Because I feel like there's so many aspects. You like are certainly multi-passionate. There is so much, I mean, and such a deep wisdom. I know it's been hard won, and you see that it is all worthwhile. And I love that because we've all been through some things. And when we see the lesson and we can take the goodness out of the bad, that is a very um, resilient and very strong approach. And I really admire that. But I have a feeling that you've something you'd like to say to us. So there are people
Mm.
listening right now. What is it in your heart that wants to come out today?
Well, I want to expound a little bit on what you just said, and as far as perspective, it's so easy to think that something is happening to you instead of it's happening for you. It's this person did this, they said that, but what is it in that can make you grow? What is it that you need in that? There's something, because there's nothing that happens by chance. Every single thing happens for a reason. And so it is our job, and this is also a thing that I teach my clients too. We reflect daily, because when I speak to people, I ask before the day begins, who, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? And to whom? So I know anything that comes out to any person, it's an assigned. They're assigned to me, because I was talking to everybody. When my gifts started really firing off, and I realized the magnitude of some of the magnitude of some of them, I wanted to help everybody, every single person, because I'm like, everybody's on fire. Not so to speak, but even if it's in their mind, if it's in their heart, but that it was draining me, it was killing me. Yeah. uh, so, and that's just my heart, my nature. I want to give, I want to help, I want to heal. That's what I'm a servant. So this is when I got wise and started asking, wait a minute, who am I supposed to talk to? And when I need you to tell me specifically, I need them to light up like the 4th of July. So I know. So if people come up to me, and they do every single day, everywhere I go, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know you. Oh, I said, that's okay. I hug them. I embrace them. I said, come. And we talk, and I tell them what the message is for them, and they're just, and that's that. So now I don't have to work so hard. I think a lot of us work really hard. We work really hard on a lot of things, and I believe that if you just sit down and visualize it, if you just believe it, if you just talk to other people about it and have them to agree with you, if you just know without a shadow of a doubt what this thing looks like, what it feels like, that is the only job that you're supposed to do. How you're going to do it when it's happening is not your business. you know and we are so inundated with so many ideas in the world and so many things going on in our head, and we don't really take the time to sit and just ask and just wait for an answer. Or if you don't want to wait for an answer, ask for a specific sign then.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see a black crow, or I need to see a ladybug. Please give me three butterflies if this is real. Now the butterflies can be anywhere. This is where people miss it. Let me tell y'all listening, don't miss it, because I know what you thinking is cold outside. There are no butterflies, okay? But there could be a butterfly on somebody's car. There could be a cup that you happen to get at a coffee shop that has butterflies on it. There could be butterflies in somebody's hair barrettes in a kid in a store in front of you. Don't miss it. And a lot of people ask for these things. They're asking and they're begging and they're missing their answers because they're not present in the moment to understand the answer is right in front of them when it's time. Mm,
Mm.
mm.
Tell me this prayer. So when you get up in the morning, you're saying to the universe, to God, or
Yes.
whoever it is,
Yep.
where do you have me go?
Ah,
What is
what do
those
you
three phrases? Tell us so we can write this down.
got it? What do you want me to do?
Hmm.
What do you want me to say?
Hmm.
And to whom?
What do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? And to whom? I love it.
Yes. Hmm. So now you know, and when you believe that it is so, if you because you have to believe it, you have to believe. Oh, okay, whew, thank you, right? So if it's a male man that comes to your house and he never knocks on the door, but today he knocks on the door for whatever reason, you're supposed to say something to him, or he's supposed to say something to you. Don't miss it. They'll miss it because so many people, it's the little things. It's
Hmm.
it's the little things that the whispers of the wind, the ruffles and the trees, like these things are speaking to us often. And again, we're missing it because of the noise in our mind. So I am very, very vigilant, and I teach very like we do hardcore meditation, So,
Mm.
and it's hard for people. It's hard sometimes. And I say, okay, we're gonna start with 17 seconds. No big deal. 17 seconds. Think about what it is that you want. You just want a peaceful second. Just breathe. 17 seconds. That's all you got. That's all you need to get in the zone. We take a breath, we do that, and then we get up to I don't know, 3-4 hours sometimes. It depends, and they because they understand that time stops and it's fun in there. You can do
Oh, this is
it's fun and
awesome. So I have a theory, okay, because obviously we both have been teaching singing voice, right?
yes, yes,
So my theory is that what you're doing is you're bringing people into a deeper sense of presence,
yes,
self-awareness, self-compassion, and from there, that is enabling them not only to be in the world better, but also they can communicate through their singing in a completely different way. So there's a different level, right?
it's a completely different. I can't. It's like I'm trying to. I saw a big tree. I saw a big tree, and so let's just say we're trees walking, and some people. But it's time to be rooted. It's time to be rooted into yourself, into your gifts, and a lot of people don't know what that means because they've been unplugged their whole life or most of their entire life. So what does that even look like to be still and plug in and just sit with your thoughts, sit with yourself, sit with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's talk about the bad and the ugly. And a lot of people are when they come to me, you shouldn't have did that, but I love you anyway. We gonna figure it out. Because it's a no judgment zone. Who am I to judge? I create a place where people are seen, heard, and understood and loved unconditionally. So now with that condition off, because a lot of people don't even know they love with conditions. I love you if you do this, if you don't do that. It's conditions in there, man. And so I take the conditions off, and they feel it. So therefore, some things come out that maybe they would never want to say even to themselves out loud. But that's okay. We need to figure it out. Let it come out. Let it flow. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's freeing for them. It's like poison coming out of their soul. Then they can stand in their power. Then they can sing. Mm.
Juicy, very juicy. I just feel so inspired by you. So inspired. I'm like, wow. So these clients that come to you, they're like, well, they're getting way more than what they might expect from. I mean, the word
Mm,
intuitive is in the job title, but still, they think they're coming for a voice coaching or vocal coaching. Do you get a lot of
mm.
surprised clients? What's happening when
Uh,
they get in there?
well, I let them know we have a consultation first.
Hmm.
In the consultation, I'm like, surprise! I know you thought. It's so funny because I'm real silly too. So we're cracking up. I mean, crying. Okay, so because laughter is a big part of this thing,
Mhm.
because it's like if we can just laugh through all of this, is hilarious. And I don't even know where we're going. That's the thing. I know your whole life is going to change. You will not be the same. You're going to come in here and you're going to walk out different all the way around. I don't. So that's just what I got. What and I just let them know this is what we're doing and this is why you're here. Again, in the door, I tell them why they're here. They don't know, but I tell them because I speak, their soul speaks to me and I
Mhm.
speak to them. I say, you're here because of this, this, and what happened to your mother? Why didn't you tell her that before she passed away? So now we have to tell her. And they're like, and most of the time at this point, there is no shock. There is no, well, how do you know? Because I am so confident that whatever speaks through me is 1,000% accurate. I have no conviction. You can take it or not. It's up to you. But this is why you're here. And this is what I'm going to help you do. And we're going to do this and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, so yeah, it's intense. It's intense. But it's so fun because I like to have fun too. A lot of people forget to be children, and I forgot to be a kid too. And let me tell you how I even got to being a intuitive vocal coach. I had done 10 years of study at the university, at the one of the most prestigious universities in the country, the best voice teacher. I mean, they're yeah, voice teachers, everything. And I end up having a vocal cyst right after I graduated, the largest vocal cyst that my surgeon had ever seen.
Whoa.
Mm, mm. I thought I was going to Broadway. I literally, or the Metropolitan Opera, because I had auditions set up, everything. And no, it didn't happen like that. I lost my voice, and I had a 50% chance whether I would ever sing again. I had to have the surgery if I ever. Right. Now I know two things. I know drugs and I know music, and now the music has been taken away. So I get the surgery. Okay, I got the surgery, and I was silenced for 3 years. Mm. And even if you know me just a little bit right now, I like to talk. All right,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So that was very hard because I felt like God, the universe, had abandoned me. Had what are you doing? Like I had already been through all of this crap. Now you're taking my voice, what? And it was in my silence that my spirit began to speak volumes and gifts, spiritual gifts that are beyond anything you can imagine. Even for me, for sure, began to speak, began to grow. And it was that. Now, when I graduated, I was a soprano without high notes. I had done all the work, but I couldn't sing high notes, even after graduating with 2 degrees, which is why I end up having the vocal cyst, I believe, because I was trying to sing these high notes and nobody ever spoke to my soul. They didn't realize I didn't have high notes because when I had gone through the sexual abuse and trauma as a kid, I never screamed. It happened so often that I held my voice and I held myself. So I had never even screamed on a roller coaster if someone scared me. But nobody they didn't go that deep because it's university. It's not professional. It's not.
Hmm.
So I needed to meet somebody that could unlock me and see the trauma from the inside, and so I had to become that. Mm. And so that's kind of how I became that. And things were revealed to me why I wasn't able to sing high notes. I mean, I'm fine now, but it's crazy how I had to be silent for 3 years to even understand the journey that I would take myself through and others. Mm.
That must have been quite daunting to go back into singing after those 3 years.
It was hard. You know what I mean? I had a team of 8 people putting me together because I decided I wanted to go back to school and get a master's in voice with no voice. And that's what I did. Okay. So I went and I applied and I got in the School of Music with no voice, and my voice teacher, Dr. Streets, and a whole team of people just literally helped me to build my voice back from nothing during that 3 year time. Now, usually as the masters are 2 years, but it took me three because I couldn't sing, you know. I had to build it. And I'm talking about building it slowly. After that 3 years, I could get through my hour recital, which is a requirement for different languages. You know, you have to have an hour recital to graduate out of the master's program. And I was able to do that. So I worked 3 years just to do that.
Amazing. I had an
Mm.
experience of kind of losing my singing voice at one point. I was working in recruitment on a headset, you know, working to KPIs, like performance
Mm.
indicators or whatever they are.
I
And
understand.
I was so desperate to do singing. I felt like a piece of my soul was missing. And I went to my teacher, I went to an audition for voice lessons, and a woman called Evelyn Dowling. And I could sing 5 notes. Like, I think, you know, I could nearly get to a G or something, but then my voice stopped. And I
Mm.
remember the relief I felt when she said, "I think there's a good voice in there." You know, and she believed in me. And
Mm-hmm.
you never forget that. Like, every time I have someone come to me, I've worked with people who they can barely sing happy birthday. Actually, here's like big reveal. I've worked with people that are still struggling to sing happy birthday, but they have gotten so much from being in the playful learning of that. They needed me for something in that moment, and it was really a pleasure. And it's the deeper work that I find the most interesting now. Even though I love the impact that singing can have. Like, when we sing and your soul is soaring and you're completely in the moment and you're not in your
Mm.
head and you're
Mm.
communicating your truth and your emotions, there is healing in the room for everybody. And I don't care if you've had the 10 years of training, you could have had no training, but
20.
you can have an
Yeah.
impact. So I believe everybody's got the song in there somewhere that they need to sing.
Mm.
And it takes you somewhere. Like, look where your singing has taken you. Look where it's taking me, and your clients, of
Yes.
course.
Yes, but you know, I had a voice teacher, Florence Birdwell. She, when I first got there, when I first got to OCU, she took music away from me. This is before the surgery. She took the notes away from me because I was hiding behind the music. I was
Mm.
hiding behind my beautiful voice, and I wasn't saying anything. And so my motto for my studio, and this came from her, it's a feeling, not a sound. So a lot of times we won't even sing for 6 weeks because I really don't care how beautiful your voice is or what you really want to do. If you're not saying anything to my soul, I really am not interested. And I say it just like that. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So we take songs. Let's just say we take a song and we begin to build a backstory, something from their life, something that they felt in real life. And so they can now begin to open up their souls, which we began to allow other people to just open up theirs. I teach to brand the souls of your listeners. I'm not interested in just you singing me a pretty song. I really don't. If you're not willing to, and they must, if they come and work with me, you have to tap into the deepest part of you. So then you can tap into the deepest part of the souls of others. And again, it's a feeling, not a sound. So even and that works two ways as well. It feels like something when you're singing correctly, when you're in alignment. So instead of, I don't use a piano, I don't use any music. I make them feel it in their body. We build a piano, we build an instrument in their body. So if they sing a G sharp, let's just say, they know what that feels like. So if the microphone goes out or if something crazy happens, because it always does sometime, they're so reliant on their soul and not the music, they can just sing and let it come out anyway. So I took all that out too. So people have nowhere to hide.
Ooh, and that just feels like such a great thing when you say it. It sounds like a great thing. And of course, if we can tap into our essence, because that's really what we're expressing in every area of our lives, there is absolute magic that can happen. And that's the magic sauce that we all need in this world when a lot of people are feeling very lost. Well, we're going
Mhm.
to wrap things up now, Deanna, but I know I really want to keep talking. But
Me
is there
too.
something you'd like to say? There's people listening right now. They're probably going, oh my gosh, my brain, I don't know, like so much has been said. There's so much wisdom
Mhm.
here. But is there one thing that you'd like to leave with people or something that you'd like to tell our listeners right now?
Don't let anybody, including yourself, tell you that you are not worthy. If it's something in your life, in your mind, in your heart that you feel that you want, it's because you're supposed to have it. So let's just say, for example, I'm 50 and I want to start music or I want to win a Grammy Award. If that is in your soul and your heart's desire, it belongs to you. It belongs to you. So be careful of who you tell your visions to and your dreams to, because the naysayers will keep you from going forward. You must find people that agree with you, that can see beyond what they perceive is happening now, because there's many things that are happening, more things actually are happening in the unseen than what we can see. So believe in yourself. Understand that you have the feeling, because it is yours. It is yours. And so I encourage people to really sit with themselves and really ask themselves, what do I want? I don't care about your age. I don't care how much money you have, what your lack of love. None of that matters. What is it that the inner child wanted as a child? You have to go back. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to humanity to figure that out, because you too are here for a very specific and special person to deliver something that only you can deliver to the world. That's what I would say.
Amen. Hallelujah. And so it
Amen.
is. Awesome. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Deanna. That Deanna Marie is here. She's in the house. She's living her truth right now.
Yep.
She's available for people to learn from and connect with. And I'm going to put all of your details with the show notes. And
Hmm.
you've got an amazing story. And I would highly recommend people to check out your website. There's some great information about your life, everything there. We are so
Hmm.
pleased that you've taken the time to listen today. But most importantly, please start listening to yourself and listen to your heart. And that will guide you always beautifully. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you on the next episode of the Resonate podcast. Bye bye.